Alex was 25 years old, full of dreams, but also full of doubts. He had just started his first job at a marketing firm, and while he was excited, he couldn't help but feel like he was already falling behind. His college friend Sam had already been promoted twice. His cousin Mia was traveling the world, posting glamorous photos on social media. And here he was, stuck in a cubicle, feeling like he was going nowhere. Every night, Alex would scroll through social media, comparing his life to others. Why can't I be as successful as Sam, he'd wonder. Why isn't my life as exciting as Mia's? The more he compared, the smaller he felt, and soon his confidence began to crumble. One day, Alex was assigned a big project at work. He was thrilled. This was his chance to prove himself. But as the days went by, he couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't good enough. What if I fail, he thought. What if everyone realizes I'm not as talented as they think? The pressure built up until one morning he couldn't take it anymore. He called in sick, not because he was physically ill, but because his spirit was broken. That day, Alex decided to visit his grandfather, a wise man who always seemed to have the right words at the right time. When Alex arrived, his grandfather was in the garden, tending to his flowers. "Grandpa," Alex said, his voice trembling, "I feel like I'm failing at everything. Everyone else is doing so well, and I'm just stuck." His grandfather put down his watering can and gestured to the flowers. "Alex," he said, "look at these roses. They're beautiful, aren't they? But do you see that one over there? It's smaller than the others. Does that make it any less of a rose?" Alex shook his head. "Of course not," his grandfather continued. "Each flower blooms at its own pace. Some need more sunlight, some need more water, but in the end, they all become what they're meant to be." Alex stared at the flowers, letting the words sink in. His grandfather placed a hand on his shoulder. "You're comparing your journey to everyone else's, but your path is yours alone. Don't measure your life by someone else's ruler. You'll bloom when it's your time." Those words stayed with Alex. He realized he'd been so focused on what everyone else was doing that he'd forgotten to appreciate his own progress. Slowly, he began to change his mindset. Instead of scrolling through social media, he started journaling about his own goals and achievements. Instead of doubting himself, he reminded himself that growth takes time. At work, Alex threw himself into the project, not to prove himself to others, but because he genuinely wanted to do his best. And you know what? His passion and dedication didn't go unnoticed. His boss praised his creativity, and his team admired his leadership. For the first time in a long time, Alex felt proud of himself. Months later, Alex stood in front of his colleagues, presenting the final results of the project. It was a success, a huge success. But more importantly, Alex had succeeded in something far greater. He had learned to stop comparing himself to others. He had learned to trust his own journey. That night, as Alex walked home, he looked up at the stars and smiled. He realized that life isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about being the best version of yourself, and that's enough. So, my friend, if you ever find yourself feeling small, remember Alex's story. You are on your own path, and your journey is uniquely yours. Don't compare yourself to anyone. Keep growing, keep believing, and in time, you'll bloom into the incredible person you were always meant to be. Subscribe for more powerful life lessons and stories that change perspectives.